Afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Are you excited to be here today? Okay, I'm equally excited and I want to welcome each and every one of you to today's meeting. Today is the career talk and networking session with the Association of Advertising Agency of Nigeria. And we're super excited because we have the best in the field here with us. Please a round of applause for our guests. They came all the way to be a blessing to us because they're going to be sharing from their wealth of knowledge. And I'm sure cumulatively we have over 150 years of experience. Yes, when we calculate on the average, everyone's experience here. That's what we're going to learn. And so I would like us to welcome, with a round of applause, our acting dean, Dr. Ngozi Opara. Thank you.
Everyone. So I guess I say welcome to Pan Atlantic University. We're glad you made it. In spite of all the back and forth, we weren't sure how the students will receive this invitation, but at last you're here. I'm very glad to have you here. As you have witnessed us today, we wish you to stay and gist and interact and network. We'll have to come here. So as soon as we are sorry for starting late, we should have started by 12 as we promised you, and we promised you I'm not going to waste too much of your time. I'm glad that some of you are here. It's not only bad that you're still going to have exams tomorrow. Give them a round of applause. I'm very glad to see you. And to our final year students, oh, I'm so happy to see you. You finished exams on Monday and you stayed back. Clap for yourself. I can see that. I can see fire and eyes and all of this. I'm glad that you're here. So please, you know you have done so many advertising courses. We told you this is this and that. These are the people who will tell you the real things. People who know, they know a lot about advertising. They know the practical aspect of advertising. Like Stella said, they've been here for a while. We have so many people from many agencies. So you're going to hear from the horse's mouth. You're going to hear a lot. Maybe we didn't tell you in the classes and everything. So I welcome the president of AAAN, Mr. Steve Abeko. People like Mr. Moloku and the rest of the executive. You are welcome to Pan Atlantic University. But I also welcome so many people from many agencies. Please feel free to tell us everything you know about advertising. We're here to learn. And to our students, welcome once again. And to my colleagues who left everything to come and stay with us. I'm so glad that you are here, Mr. Wigo, Mr. Zechubu, Tony, and all the rest. We are very grateful that you are here. So let's welcome our guests once again. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for that speech. That was great. So next is welcome the director of AAAN, Mrs. Kemi Fabusoro. Please a round of applause for her.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much. When you go to some other universities, you would have said something like great Nigerian students. But I'm not sure how this one will be. So I'm like, let me just watch myself too. So good afternoon, or hi, hello, how are you? Thank you very much for having us. We're AAAN, Association of Advertising Agencies of Nigeria. We're the umbrella body that regulates the practice and business of advertising in Nigeria. We have several industry agencies around here. We have over 80 agencies and counting, very successful businesses that are doing well and making us great arts, communications, and all that, all over, not just Nigeria, but even globally. We are here to just share our experience with you, to also learn, get questions from you if you have anything you want to clarify from the great speakers and panelists that we have. We are ready and available, to avail you of wealth of knowledge and great industry leaders that you have in the room. I'll just quickly do some introductions. I won't take your time, but I think it's very necessary. Our president has already been introduced, and I'm sure some of you are already going on Instagram. Anyway, so welcome again, Mr. Steve Babeko. Thank you very much for this. I also would like to quickly introduce members of the executive board. I have Mrs. Topa Jemeribe, she's our publicity secretary. General Aditla, she's our official. Mr. Howard name is the Honorable Treasurer. Mr. Tola Obi is Assistant Publicity Secretary. We have Mr. Monoku, who is ex-official. And we have about two or three other personnel that are probably on the way, and we're hoping that they join us. I also have MDs of agencies here, and it's important I also introduce them. I have Mr. Donya Deomi, Creative Zone, MD of Creative Zone. I have some other members of Extreme M. Extreme is still very good, too much. So he's our president, but he's also the MD CEO of Extreme. So we have some members of Extreme here. We have some people from BB. We have some people from BBDO, CBW. Mr. Kelechi also is our past president. We are still wondering what happened to his hand though. We also have Mr. The great Tommy Da Silva. One I think I'll introduce everyone in the room. Okay, thank you very much. So I will quickly introduce our first speaker, President Mr. Steve Babeko, who will be speaking on the future of marketing communication using technology. I also missed yeah, so I missed Kemi, and I also missed, okay, I said members of Extreme, so everybody's together. So I missed Kemi, also who is a member of X1U.
Good morning, everyone. Please answer me like you're really happy to be here. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Like the director of the plan said, again, when you enter somewhere tush, you just pretend like you're tush yourself. So we're not going to do any of those great Nigerian student things here at all. So I'm really, really happy to be here, and I'm really, really excited that. Like I was telling to the dean and the members of staff here, this place is like an oasis that shows that things can actually work in Nigeria and can endure as well. So please, a round of applause for yourself. I mean, on one hand, it's a mixed feeling for me to just experiencing the beauty of what's going on here. On one hand, I'm really, really happy for you lucky lots who are not marooned at home doing nothing while the whole world is passing us by. You're getting quality education and quality learning, and by extension, all of the interaction that will happen here today. But on the other hand, that also leads for millions of students who, due to no fault of theirs, are stuck at home, while the rest of the world are acquiring knowledge that will improve their countries. So, I mean, for me, you can understand the ambivalence that I feel right here today, just being here. But having said that, like they say on the streets of Lagos, we move. But like the acting dean rightly said, what's even much more inspiring today is that in spite of prep for exam for people who are preparing for exam, and in spite of people, some final year students having just finished their exam, they stayed back. Please, another round of applause for yourself. Why that is important to be said is that it's a level of this kind of commitment that can actually move the needle when it comes to development and advancement in any society or in any country. That the fact that young people like yourselves can commit and say, I have 101,000 other things to do, but I'm going to make time for quality interaction like this, really deserves to be commended. I'm going to speak to you about technology and the future of marketing communication. And really, I love what we're doing here because I was telling the director of AAAN, the first time we actually did something like this was at the last year AGM, which happened in Ibadan, and went to the University of Ibadan. It's a place I'm actually quite familiar with because for like almost 12, 14 years standing, I've had just partner interaction with the university, especially with the Department of Communication and Language as I go there to teach and do creative workshops. And I think now, having discovered this place, I think it will be the next place that I will frequent more. So I graduated from the Ahmadu Bello University. Yeah, you know. And in fact, I promise you, no clue, no inkling whatsoever about the existence of an industry like the advertising industry that will permit me to wear my head the way I'm wearing it now and still earn good money and still have fun, you know, and still be able to just do the kind of things that make me happy. I love creating. I mean, I can tell you some of the, at the corporate, I can tell you so many ads that I've created that I was part of the team because in advertising it's really team effort. I'm part of the team that created, but I'm not going to bore you. But today, because you all are digital natives, right? I mean, people like us, when the director was introducing me, he said, you probably have seen him on this. Me, I'm a stranger on this. I'm not a digital native, but for your generation, people grow up just using this kind of technology. So you will be much more interested in seeing where the future of advertising will take us. I'll say, I was telling you about the story of ABU where I did not know about the existence of advertising. So I don't really know how you guys, what wavelength you're on now, whether you do know about the existence of the advertising space, and which is why it's important that we're having this conversation. If you have any comments, if you have any feedback, if you have any questions you'd like to clarify, we'll be more than happy to take. Please, the Minister for Information is calling my phone. Can I answer it? But so that nobody actually fools anyone, one of the reasons why we're here is not all the whole reasons why we're here is not all that altruistic either. It's not like, well, we're here because we like, I'll tell him how much I like his dreadlocks. It's cuter than mine, I think. You know, it's nicer than mine. So we're not here because we like anybody's space here. We're here because we know that the future of our industry actually begins in this room. If we can get young people with the level of vibrancy we've experienced, I mean, I've interacted with a couple of people. If we can get young people to join our industry, it will actually elongate the future of our industry. So, oh, nothing serious. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so one, sorry, apologies for that. And if you don't pattern, as you've noticed in a couple of maybe decades or so, technology has disrupted our world in such a significant way that we've not seen in any generation, you know. And a lot of the disruption that has happened, the marketing communication space has not been spared and it will not be spared. So the thing is, how are we prepared to forge ahead in the years to come? One of the things, if you look at the key milestone of technology and how it has evolved over the past decade, one of the things that has been played one of the major that's one of the major drivers of the change be AI and machine learning. I'm sure a lot has been said to you, and you know what's going on with artificial intelligence. It's projected that maybe already, because there was this article somewhere online where some tech giants, I'm not going to mention the tech giants, engineer did say that some machines seem to have developed minds of their own and they got fired. So some people probably know some things that we don't know. But the fact that artificial intelligence programs can come up with ideas and can do stuff on their own and can relate to human beings at such a phenomenal level, it's going to disrupt how we communicate going forward. So that all of the whole saying that maybe some machines will be programmed where they can write copy and do design, and maybe in the future, human beings might not even be required to create advertising so that the client can save money and save budget because they can just maybe acquire a program, that is being said. And machine learning is that machines are being trained day in, day out to be able to master some of the artistry and some of the things that we do on a daily basis and to leave almost near zero margin for error, because as human beings, we make mistakes, right? But with machine learning, the essence of it is to eliminate human error, So that is that. The other thing is how virtual reality, which has now metamorphosed into the metaverse, as it's being touted today, is going to affect us. In Japan today, there are some set of young people who really don't want to go out into the real world to interact, because all from beginning to the end of the interaction happens online. So they have online friends that they go to the bar together, they go to the restaurant together, they go to the cinema together, and they are just in their room. They never want to go out. So the government is actually quite worried now because there's a psychological dependency of that alternate world where people just live and have their existence. And for marketing communication experts too, that is part of the bottleneck that you have to confront going forward. Because it's taught us in school, how do you follow the consumer pathway? They will wake up in the morning, they enter their taxi, they listen to radio, drive time, and then back in the days, it used to be 4 p.m., the NTA would start, and we are all waiting in front of the television. Now, we know the usual routes to market, but now we're looking for the consumers. Where can they be found? What screens are they watching? They are definitely not watching NTA. If it's a good day, then this Husseini guy of Arise TV says something important, then we probably will tune in. But if not, people are playing video games, they are playing NBA, FIFA 2022, and all of those other games. So the metaverse is going to play an important role going forward, because today you see people acquiring real estate metaverse, people opening their first office on the metaverse. So, we want to see how this development pan out, but it's part of the reasons why marketing communications will be affected going forward. Big data. I probably haven't posted anything on Instagram this morning, or have I? Maybe I have. But every time we post something, I was at the restaurant early this morning because I came really early, and I had a cup of tea with donuts. If I wanted, I could have taken a picture like most people would do and posted it maybe on Snapchat or wherever to say PAU's canteen serves the best donut this side of the island, right? But you see, what I have just done is not leave another footprint on the sand of the internet, where if there was a big data program that tracks my movement, oh, Steve actually does like donuts. So what is going to affect communication going forward is that if there is any donut shop around here, they can do what we call geolocation marketing. Steve is around Ibejuleki, he's in PAU, and our outlet is just about 5 minutes. So they hit me with real-time online communication to say the best donut I've had, forget those PAU candidates. The best donut I've had is just 5 minutes away from. That is the power of the new kind of communication and the trend that we'll have to contend with going forward. Blockchain, crypto, again, all this is going on here. I feel the guy in pro or anything like that. Yeah, because which is why it's unfortunate when the government now, not understanding certain things, just come out with some law that, in my opinion, makes no rational sense. Because you don't understand it does not mean you should be afraid of it. Ban crypto, what are we? There are some countries that have converted their national currency to almost crypto. And whether we like it or not, at the pace at which crypto is moving, that is going to be the first currency that the whole world will be forced to spend. Because people want independence, want privacy, people don't want to go through bank. All of the complaints that we get, and I have from bank clients, so shout out to them, but all of the complaints that people get to say, they deducted my money for nothing. With blockchain technology, that is eliminated. So even the banks will be forced to conform and ride and jump on that boat, if not, they will be left behind. So all of that will affect how we do transactions and how we're able to move forward as an industry. So with all of these things, e-commerce too is on the rise. Before, as communication expert, you say above the line, which is all of the communication you do on TV, print, and maybe radio. Now, for below the line, you now go to point of sales, maybe go to organized retail like ShopRite and whatever, and you decide, because you know this is where people come to buy. So how are you going to do it? Peak Milk is one of our clients. If you say, okay, look, let me go to the milk shelf. As you're coming, to remind you to say, Peak Milk is here, you have to buy it. You do certain things around that. But now, with e-commerce, people are not leaving their homes. How are we going to be able to transfer all of those brick and mortar stuff we do at point of sales to that e-commerce point? So those are the things that we have to contend with going forward. Personalization. Personalization becomes very key because before, in the current state of play, what we just do is do mass communication, right? But now, as you are able to track everybody, have you noticed that these days you think your phone is spying on you? There was one day I was telling my assistant to say, look, I need a phone case for my iPhone. I said it and I went home. Before I got home, every goddamn site I went to was putting phone cases advert and I'm like, oh. Then I remember, yeah, I didn't mention phone case. So that's what's going to continuously happen going forward. Because all of the cookies that are attached to you move from one website to another, they put something on your ear that following you, and everywhere you go, they know where you're going to, and all of those things. So personalization is going to be key. I'll tell you a case study of someone. There was this, I think it's a shop, a grocery shop, maybe in the UK, right? They came home, and the man's teenage, maybe the girl was in her late 19 or almost early 20, and they sent pampers to the house. And when they rang the bell, the father came out to us to take it. So why are you sending pampers to my daughter? She's just 19 going on 20. They said, well, your daughter is pregnant, is expecting a baby. How did we come to this ridiculous conclusion? We did not expect a baby. I mean, and it did not end well. Let's just say the messenger escaped without a bruise or two. But they took the girl to the doctor and they did the test. And lo and behold, nothing was the still there. He's pregnant. But I wanted to find out, you guys know. But it turns out that for people who come to that grocery shop, pregnant women usually buy soap that are unscented. So mostly people who come to buy those unscented soap are pregnant. And the girl went there a week before and bought it. And that's how they know. So that's the level of personalization we have to deal with going forward. Now, as a roundup, the debate has been out there. Will technology come and wipe off all our jobs? People have been nervous. And even me that I'm here talking, maybe in a few years I'm not going to have any job. I have good news. Technology will come, technology will go. I'm even surprised that there's no new social media now that is making waves, because usually it's almost timing. Around 5 or 3, 4, 5 years, there will be something new. Or maybe because I'm just not playing catch up enough. But I think what is going to endure going forward is power of mankind to continue to tell very heartwarming stories that can move people, to take quality action. Thank you very much.
So I think what we'll do is maybe take the second speaker, and then afterwards we can ask questions, and then we go to the last speaker. Is that fine, or you want us to ask questions anything? We'll take the second speaker. Okay. All right. So I will call on our darling Mrs. A, Mrs. Biodo Adifila. She'll be taking the topic around gender opportunities. You know, they say women supporting women in the industry, and all of these things. Taking us around gender opportunities in marketing communication.
Thank you. My name is Yoda Adefila. Everyone calls me today, so you are welcome. How are you? You all do good. All right, so I'll be talking to you about gender opportunities in marketing, and I'll start with a question. You know that gender does not mean female. The word gender does not mean female. Now, here's the thing, it's the power of indoctrination, and sometimes it's unconscious. Over the years, you know, you begin to hear gender this, gender that, and the thing that comes to your mind is that, okay, they must be talking about this subject that puts women, you know, at the receiving end of short stick, right? So, but the fact is that gender, according to some definition that I found it very interesting because you looked at it from the perspective of self, who you are, your personality, your individuality, nothing to do with your physical or biological characteristics, gender. Now, if we say that gender means self, who you are, it then means that it doesn't matter whether you're a guy or a girl or whatever it is, you can be whoever or whatever it is that you choose to be. And here's the thing, and if this is the only thing you take away from this session, remember, careers do not have genders. Career is genderless. Okay, so now if you look at opportunity, and we say that opportunity is a situation that makes it possible for you to do whatever it is you want to do, or the possibility of doing something at all. Mark the word, possibility of doing something, or situation that makes you do what you want to do. That means that you are limitless. You can do whatever you choose to do at whatever time you choose to do. Now the question is, do you want a career in marketing? Now if the answer is yes, it means there is space for you to can anything you want to be in marketing. I also saw a definition of marketing. By now, you know I like definitions. And that definition says that marketing is a set of processes, institutions, and activities that are used for creating, for communicating, for delivering, and for exchanging offerings of value with clients, with customers, and with all participants. Now, what I like about that definition is that it speaks to creating, to communicating, to delivering, and exchanging of value. I'll narrow down to communicating because that's the hub, the core of what we are talking about. I'll narrow down to communicating. Now, communication used to be the fourth P in marketing, right? Promotion. The last time I checked, there were 4 of them. No, there were 7 of them, and are there more now? How many are there? Seriously, we started, the president and I and all these people started before. They are still from. Okay, so yes, so promotion. Promotion is about telling people that you exist, making them aware that you exist, and then creating interest in yourself. Now, promotion has under it, or we call it communication. You have advertising, you have public relations or perception management, you have digital marketing, you have direct marketing. Now, if you choose to work in an advertising agency, right? Let's say you work in an advertising agency, you could choose to work as a creative, and then you have the people we call the copywriters. You have the people you call the visualizers or the art directors. You have the people you call the strategists or planners, the researchers, and you could choose to be in production. That could be audio visual. Those are the people that produce all the TV and the radio materials that you listen to. Now, I say that TV very loosely because actually all of you are carrying TV in your pocket. So now we call them films, not necessarily TV, because those materials travel. And your film doesn't have to be that thing that is in front of your room table. And then, of course, you could choose to be in media. So after you have created all of these things, where do you put them? How do you deploy them? You could choose to be a media planner, a media buyer, or strategist as well. Now, you remember I mentioned public relations and perception management. I mentioned direct marketing, I mentioned digital marketing as well. So all of those roles that I listed out can be found in all these platforms as well. So you see, there is a whole lot of opportunity for you if you choose to, back to where we started, choose to. Opportunities are many. So now I'll go to the fact that something curious is happening in our industry. So what we've observed is that there are fewer women in the top level than we have, with men. And I'll tell you this, it's not because the opportunities are not there, and it is not because women are not capable. The way I look at it, it's a matter of choice. Your choice to be at the top of your career as a woman. And luckily, we have a few MDs here that tell you it's possible if you choose to do it. Now, what do you require to do it? Just need to show if you are interested, if you have passion for it, if you are determined, if you are consistent, if you are persistent, if you just decide it is what it is that I want to do, there will be nothing to stop you from becoming or from getting the top of your career in advertising as a female. And the benefits are numerous. So for one, you get to express yourself like the president did. He's doing very well with his hair, with his data hair, as I call it. So you get to express your individuality. You get to create ideas that shape the world. You get to create and build brands that are household names. You get to meet people, and so you can build your network capital. The advantages are numerous. And in fact, with all of this, I can tell you, you will enjoy yourself, but we will not pay you a banker's salary. Tell you for free. We will not pay you a banker's salary. But we'll do better. We'll let you write your own paycheck. How is that? Go on. Let you write your own paycheck. And the reason we can do that is that we believe we bring a uniqueness to the party, and the degree to which you show this will determine the check that you are writing for yourself. And again, AAAN, that's us sitting here, Association of Advertising Agencies of Nigeria. We are very particular about having more male participation in advertising at the top level. And so what we do is engage in programs that promote this. And we have a governing body, a committee called the Women in Advertising. Now, the key goal, or one of the key goals of the Women in Advertising, is to provide support, in grooming young women who are interested in advertising. We provide mentorship programs, we provide training programs. We also have partnered with a foundation that we call the Street Projects Foundation. And so what we've done is to raise women and bring them into the fold by providing them with internship opportunities. And we've done this for the past 4 years. And so when the young women go for internship, as much as possible, we try to absorb them into the agency they intern with, so that they can be encouraged and other people encouraged as well. Why do we do this? It's because we believe that women or females have a lot more, so much more to offer the creative industry than they are doing now. And the industry also has a lot more to offer them. So we are waiting for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Lucy. So I will just call on her to moderate the questions and answers, and then we can continue with the last speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Steve and Mrs. A. So, thank you, Steve and Mrs. A. I'm sure that was very insightful. I like the fact that it was straight to the point, and we got the message. So, if you have questions, please kindly signify by raising your hand. Okay. So I'll come to you.
That's me, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. And panel, thank you so much for being here. So my name is Oreke Ahmed. I have some questions for you and Steve, and a couple for Mrs. A. So regarding tech and digital marketing, yeah, so the first one is that people are growing irritated by ads in their online space, because when people go online, they kind of want to escape their reality, they want to be comfortable, they want to, and advertising doesn't really their trend. So as marketing professionals, how do we incorporate our copies and our promotion into that lifestyle without being disruptive? The next one is that consumers are wildly unpredictable, but that's why we have machine learning, tracking, data collection, stuff like that, to help us now understand how our market is evolving. But that kind of invades on the privacy of our consumers. And how do we, we're ethical professionals, right? And want to be able to respect and excellence. Before long, we used to give us information, we'll do surveys, we'll expand them. So we're not doing that in the companies that manage their data and content. How do we tool that line between respecting their privacy and also giving them the kind of things that they want? Because at the end of the day, the reason we're collecting data is to help them, right? And also because of how tech has crunched the space between the promotion and the purchase. So you see an advert online, you click the advert, you're already at the market, you're buying it, but it kind of this when it comes to buying. That's another thing that I'm concerned with. What are we doing about that? And oh, and lastly, I think we're safe as an industry because advertising is very dependent on human condition and how that's changing. And that's also the issue. You need a human being to understand. And for Mrs. A,
Sorry, what's your name? Olate. Thank you so much. Quite brilliant. Decisive. I think definitely how do we evade ad and how do we incorporate advertising into that space? Because normally it's not actually nothing new. Because I mean, way back in the days when I started my career as a copywriter, one of my creative directors used to tell me that nobody buys their newspaper saying they want to see ad of agency so about product so. They buy newspaper to get informed, to get information about what's happening in the country. So if you're going to intrude into that 60 seconds to 120 seconds space that they need to read your ad, you better make it worth their while. Today, the whole situation where people just feel like, look, this advertising, especially if you put like a pre-roll ad on the YouTube content, I know how annoying it can be for some people, but sometimes how to incorporate your advertising to part of that ecosystem when you make the advertising itself a compelling story and make it entertaining. I don't know how many of you know the Old Spice commercial. If you saw the Old Spice commercial, you're not like, thank you, you're not likely to skip it because it's so engaging and so powerful. So because now this is the days where there are actually ad blockers you can subscribe to on the internet that will help you evade those ads. Because now we work in an industry, but there's also an industry that's already been set up and is supposed to kill our industry. But the thing to do, the only way I see us being able to go around about it is just have very compelling storytelling and play that will make us to be able to engage the audience in a very positive way. And you don't try to create another conversation, you become part of the conversation that's going on within that digital ecosystem. Privacy issues. Well, thank God that a whole lot, if you look at the EU today and the US, there's so many laws around privacy issues, and that there's no running away from it. It's going to trickle down here. We're still a little far behind as far as privacy issues are concerned, but in other countries, they've already gone far. You know, part of the thing is that the internet happened and caught us in a way where I don't think we're fully prepared for the spillover effect of what the internet is going to bring. It was fine to say, okay, you can now send email, you can go to the World Wide Web and the whole world is connected. But nobody knew that fake news was going to come out of it. Nobody knew that email scam is going to come out of it. Nobody knew all of those other collateral damages that we're seeing as a result of the internet. So I think even the laws themselves, we now realize how obsolete the initial laws that were supposed to govern the internet has been. So there's a lot of upgrade happening in that direction. So people are much more conscious about people's privacy on the internet now. Impulse buying as human beings. Those are the things that they've used to criticize advertising for almost over a century. Or advertising encourages impulse buying. So whether it's online or in the real world or any other place, I think that kind of charge will continue to follow advertising. But the thing is, as long as you are over 18, we expect people to be able to take buying decisions and advertising themselves, just the same way the alcohol beverage industry will say, drink responsibly, and then you have a smoking warning on the tobacco pack to say smokers are liable to die young. I think maybe at some point in the world, at some point in our civilization, there will also be maybe warning on advertising generally to say it will encourage you to buy stuff that you really don't need. I don't know if that's ever going to happen, but I see it as a possibility where we can. They said there was this guy that started this franchise of house building for dummies. In case you already don't know that you're not supposed to buy what you don't need, but if you see our advertising, it may be so compelling for you to buy what you don't need. I don't think it's something they should tell anyone, but just for the sake of people who may really need to know, I think that will also happen as well. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Oh, she has more.
Just the question. The first one is one of the things that you said is that for women to be a lot like to be higher levels of operations and marketing things like that. Drive is one of those things, and then I was choosing consistently. But are we going to ignore that there is a systematic problem when it comes to women getting promotion? Because things like them deciding whether or not the woman is married or not, is one of the things. Oh, she's going to be more educated than me. So things like I think these are things that we also need. And then can you talk a little bit more about the women, the one that you mentioned, that was a little bit more.
All right, thank you. All right, right. Okay, so I would have been surprised if nobody asked that question actually. So yeah, it is true, it does happen. There are bad eggs everywhere. That is the truth, the fact. Now, when I give talks, I tell people that I think I've been fortunate. I did not I've never been in that kind of situation. But that's not to say that other people do not experience it. It's true. It is the fact. So here's the thing, and that's why we have the AAAN. And the fact is that we expect everybody to act responsibly, and it is also true that not. But again, I see it like a question of how you carry yourself. And this is not me trying to say that the victim is the problem. That's not it. The thing is that these things, of course, the way we handle it so that other people do not do what they are not meant to do. So as a female in advertising or anywhere actually, if you know your audience, you will be respected. Some people actually also expect success to be handed to them on the platter of gold, whatever, because I'm female. Therefore, I have some sort of advantage. But that shouldn't even occur to a person who is aimed for the top. You should be at par or want to be at par with your male colleagues. Even do more. Because as just said, maybe sometimes the guys get the how do you say the advanced one, the guy is there doing the work. Of course, they are going to promote him over you. But the fact is that if you are consistent, like I said, and deliberate, and you carry yourself the way you should, if those other things happen, I'm sure that you would have people that you can talk to. Everybody in the organization cannot be the same. So there must be people you can go to and say, hey, this is happening, how do I do this? And that's also the role for mentors. You have mentors that you can talk to that can advise you, this is what to do, that is what to do. And you asked the question, okay, women in advertising. Okay, so the community within the AAA, and so what we do essentially is to ensure that as much as possible, we try to bring younger women into the fold. We have different events and activities that we put together to ensure that we attract them. Because like I said, it's an issue. Because in an industry of, I think the director said 80 agencies, I think maybe maybe just about, if I'm being generous, 20 are females that then give. That's not good enough. So what we are doing is to fill the pipeline and ensure statement. So don't spoil my case. Okay, so we are trying to get as many females as possible into the field. And really, I've seen females that fun, even inspiring, even for me at my level, they can do this thing. So really, do come. So, but to your point, we organize programs. We have internship programs. We have mentorship programs so that they can they can come in and we can let them, show them the way, show them the path. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Raphael Kotoja, and I have a question for you. Now, in your talk, which is very well articulated, you spoke on technology as the driving force in advertising the market. Now, you didn't mention this, but I would like to ask, how can we incorporate, for example, 3D artists and models? But in my course, information science and media, one of the key courses we do is 3D modeling, applied computer graphics, and digital rendering. So we know that abroad, these institutions help to drive the advertising industry and ads. I don't know about Nigeria because we said we have certain issues. Is there an opportunity for 3D artists here in Nigeria to work in marketing?
Thank you, Raphael. I think it's a very important question. And indeed, today, like I did say, I may not have mentioned it specifically, but if you look at the metaverse today, it's all in 3D, all of the almost lifelike animation you find in maybe either it's the NBA or the FIFA. Every year it comes out, you're not even sure if this is the video or just some kind of 3D rendering. So to that extent, you already know that, look, it's an important pillar of where we're headed, where we are today and where we're headed actually tomorrow. So tomorrow, if I ever make any reference to tomorrow in our line of duty, just know that I'm talking about day before yesterday. We should have been there like 3 days ago, you know what I'm saying? So it is very important. And as a matter of fact, in our agency today, we are making it almost compulsory for every graphics artist to understand some level of 2D to 3D, to have those kind of skills there, because it's just important. Today, if you look at the way digital works and the way social works, if you were to put, if you notice the way the algorithm has been maybe configured in the past couple of maybe weeks or months, if you post a picture, the amount of likes you get now has reduced significantly. But if you were to post on maybe a reel, which is more motion picture kind of stuff, you get more engagement. So it's the same thing. Just use that to extrapolate and see. It will tell you the importance of 3D today and going forward. So it's a very important skill that if you're already doing it, I encourage you to even do more and sharpen that skill because it's going to be important for you. Thank you.
Good day. My name is Omadem and I have a question. I'll try and make it brief. Okay, see. I'll try and make it brief. It has to do with technology. It is true that in the world we live in, technology is a driving. However, one of the issues they have is that in like part of our country, not many people are tuned into this. So I want to ask as a media student and also as well, also did a bit of advertising. is there any way we can integrate this, like integrate technologies to the rural areas, so at least they can get, so they can get, so they can be more in tune? Because they still use radio, they still use newspapers, but since we're moved to that digital age, we also would like them to also be part of that digital age, so they will be left behind.
I remember for Anthony at this time. The question is to Steve, and it relates to the accusations the citizens on ad agency. When there is some form of low income, when we calculate the return on market investment, there is always a finger pointed at the agency. How are you coping with this, especially when the brand is not even delivering on its promise to the consumer? How are you able to cope with this? And what are the laws guiding the thinking?
Thank you. I'll take the last question first. Clearly, I mean, I think the biggest challenge we have is in the digital space. Honestly, if I get ₦1 for every time I see an ad that says, if you drink this potion, it will increase your libido, I'll be contesting with that with it for wealth now. And I think it's just got to the point of ridiculousness, to be honest, where we have substances that are not tested. Most of them don't even have NAFDAC registration number. And I'm not surprised to see that there's been almost like a very sharp increase in the number of people going down with kidney ailments and failures. So I think it's part of that. So, but that space is still generally unregulated for now. I don't know what the future holds, but it's unregulated. But that's part of the downside of not having broad regulation. But for the rest of the advertising ecosystem, there's an organization set up by the government, by an act of the government called APCON, Advertising Practitioners Council of Nigeria. Okay, that is the regulatory body for advertising. So even in making claims that are not true, you are not allowed to do so. Even if the claim is true, and you try to be clever by how to embellish what you have by a little bit too much, you are compelled to come and show empirical proof to say that thing you claimed is so. So already there's a law, and I mean, there's so many. If Apple is on your case, then you have a big problem. So that is how we are managing to contain just this overclaim that you reference. And there's no agency here registered with the AAAN that the first thing they teach you is the APCON code. You know what guys are professionals, like you want to be a surgeon, you know what to do now, you know you are not supposed to forget the knife in the stomach of the patient you just operated. Those are basic healthcare rules. It's the same thing with advertising. You know what not to do. And that is very important. So when people start to point fingers at agency, yeah, that's the wrong place to point the finger to theirs and not having an oversight. Again, very, very important. As we continue to evolve as a society, we realize that we have to find a way to incorporate those rural populace into what's going on. Let's look at, I don't put it on social media, right? So, but I mean, gradually going to see a shift because as long as we have players like Starlink playing that can deploy Wi-Fi connection everywhere, you'll be shocked at how fast the rural communities can leapfrog and become like really almost like sanity. And I'll give us a story. I was reading a story about some Maasai warrior from, I think, Kenya. He discovered TikTok and started making videos for TikTok. When he started it, they were looking at him like, what's wrong with this madman? Until he started gaining followership. He incorporated his sister into the act and they started making dancing video. They still didn't take him serious. He started making, but all he does is appear on the videos because he pays them to join the dancing on the video. That's how interesting leapfrog in technology can happen. It can happen, and I do agree with you. We have to make conscious effort and be deliberate about taking technology back into the rural area so that we can be one big happy family. Thanks.
My name is Jemima, and my question is what one of my questions are inspired by Raki's comments. And so you mentioned that as an internship, advertising is safe from the influence of technology because it always going to be the humanistic element. But you already know that there are softwares, there are programs that actually write copy and write it as good as any other person and write it in creative manner. And there are also like software that create work that do artistry and so on and so forth. And you will never be able to tell that this was a computer that made this kind of thing. So I believe that the best way to when technology happens like that, any industry can be put on where there's nowhere that's oversafe from the power of technology. It's actually to like adopt and adapt. But when you have a third world country like Nigeria and everything is slow, it might be. So my question is like, what are the suggestions that you might have in order to be able to learn and partner with technology in Nigeria to have like the kind of course? Then secondly, about the ethical concerns regarding data. Data mining is everywhere. Data is like the greatest currency right now. If technology drives advertising, data drives technology. So other than giving the consumer or the audience the options to decide how their data is used, we have like other ways that we can ethically mine data and use data for advertising.
Thank you very much. Maybe I'd like to address the last question first. Ethical use of data is going to happen because the way, even if you look at big data, there's a process for even mining big data itself for it to be useful to you. So the data is available. It's like this land, right? Because people are leaving trails on the internet to say you go here. Recently, I just noticed that the traffic of young Nigerians to Paris is increased. Normally, I see people post holiday picture and they always come Ireland or maybe New York or London. But these days, amazingly, I've seen a lot of people posting pictures from Paris, and I'm asking myself, what's going on in Paris? Is there something happening there? Are they giving euro and I'm slacking and I'm unaware of it? So those are data that are being generated, right? But data itself has to go through a hygiene process, where because of people just will leave all kinds of indiscriminate footprint. So you need to go through that hygiene process where you're teaching data to become useful. So yes, there's a way. Follow the ethical standard, make sure that people have the right to say, okay, look, I want my data to be used. And once we follow that process, let the hygiene process take place, then we can now use data. Because honestly, we need those kind of insights to be able to generate communication that work for the individual. So I am agreeing with you, yes, there's a way we can make it happen. And the new laws, as they continue to come into play, is adhering to those laws will help us a lot. How to partner with technology, I have to say, technology is the new wing that will help creativity to fly into the future. So unless you are very deliberate about incorporating technology into creativity, you're already losing. Okay, so, and that's why today, yes, I want to hire somebody who studies mass communication, but I also want to hire a lot of engineers. I want to hire engineers as well. I want to hire coders. I want to hire people because engineering is going to drive creativity. Because it's almost like, I'll give you an example. It's almost like a missile, right? So you launch a missile into the orbit, okay? Or you're trying to go to the moon. None of those aircraft that takes maybe stuff to the moon. You launch it. It gets to after that. You get to that stratosphere. It ejects and the other one will come down so that the inner one can go further. That's what technology will help creativity do. You've launched it, but how do you reach people? And if you want it to be targeted, how do you make sure that it's a laser guided kind of missile that you fired? All of those things, technology will help us to. So the future of creativity will lean a lot heavily on technology for us to be able to fly even higher.
Keep clapping, keep clapping.
Good afternoon. My name is Steve. So I have two questions, one for Steve and one for Steve. So my first question is, women in advertising not taking the careers in it. Do you think it's more like pattern rather than caring at all? And the second question is copywriting. Do you think it's better online or traditional media?
Okay, so your question is whether I think passion is more important than interest. Actually, my answer will be that both counts. The two of them count. One cannot go without the other, and I'll tell you why. Before the days of remote working, and maybe sometime after that also, you have occasions where you really do need to do some work that may not see you closing at 5 p.m. Or there are very complex situations or challenges that come up like right? So if you are found wanting one, there's no way you'll be able to stay focused and do what you need to. So I'm talking, for instance, about the fact that if you have the passion and you don't have the interest to show, because then you are not doing the right things. That means you are not getting the skills, you are not getting the expertise. And then if you have the passion and not the interest, it could also show because you fall short somewhere. Something will fall through the cracks. So I would recommend passion and interest. One cannot go without the other. Does that help?
Thank you. I'm curious. Do you have interest in copywriting? Okay, that's good. Because I started my career as a copywriter many months ago, and I believe that copywriters are just a special breed. Yeah. The truth of the matter is that I know as human beings we have just this penchant for compartmentalizing things. Oh, this one is for traditional, this one is. I think for me, maybe I'm just being old school here. I think copywriting, if you really want to be a copywriter. A copywriter, and you know what's funny about copywriting is that it has very little to do with writing actually. That's the paradox. As a copywriter, I tell people I actually think pictures first. That's my own technique. I think in pictures. If I can find a visual metaphor to express the message I'm trying to pass across, then I can write to it. You know how it is? It's almost like a music. Some musicians tell you, I find the melody first. If I find the melody, I can write to the tune that I have in my head. So it's almost like that. For me as a copywriter, I'm all about the visual metaphor. What is that pictorial image? And by the time you find the right visual metaphor, you know what's interesting? Sometimes you don't even need copy. Like they say, a picture is worth a million words, right? So, and sometimes, if you find the perfect visual metaphor, any idiot can write to it because it's clear what needs to be communicated, right? So, I think for us, I don't think we should hesitate about whether certain things for traditional or certain things for online. Just sharpen your skill and be a damn good copywriter. You fit in any which way you find yourself. Thanks.
So our last question. How we make what we are seeing, how we are feeling. What have you taken? People taken done so far in making an attractive which is extremely new to the tech industry. What effort they making giving this children seen as they are quite different.
Okay, thank you very much for that question. What I'll say is this. Like I said, for each of our agencies, because again, if we don't fill up the pipeline, the years will come and go, and then maybe there'll be just one or two people, females in the industry. We do not want that. And that is specifically actually why we set up the women in advertising. Over the years, we have partnered with other institutions to ensure that younger women can come into the industry. And so other individual agencies or individual agencies also have training programs that they have that these younger women can come into. But the thing is this, someone asked a question about partners. I will add something about being intentional to it, right? So I mentioned before that nobody is going to hand you anything on a platter of gold. You have to work for it. So the fact is that at the entry level, in fact, I do not have the data, but I do know that there are as many women as men during the entry level to the mid level. And then it's when it comes to the board senior roles that they taper off. So it's really a question of, do I want to do this job? That certainly there will be obstacles, there will be hindrances, but there are obstacles and hindrances for men also. So it's a personal question, do I want to do this job? And if you do want to do it, then you would overcome whatever obstacle that seems to stand in your way. That's the way I would like to look at it. So the industry is there, the opportunities are there, the trainings are even there. And what we are, that's what we call it, women in advertising, does is to partner with people that can encourage these younger women to come in. I see the chairman of there wants to say something. So please, mic for her.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Ntoko Temerego, CEO of DKP and also chairman for Women in Advertising. I mean, to have to be able to respond, the challenges before us doesn't have a gender. However, there are some gender-specific ones, and which is to, I forgot your name again, Orachi, that's we're not going to pretend that some of these things do exist, and we're really being deliberate about some of the things we're doing. For example, we're planning a seminar where we want to actually hold a kind of teaching and learning on the new What is new with resources? Now, we're talking to HR, the dynamics of being a woman in the workplace. There's certain things that is peculiar to a woman. A man is never going to carry the baby and need 3 months away. So there are certain things that is very necessary for us to address. And one of the most important reasons why we need to be able to raise women is the fact that we need to start influencing policy. We're working with men. The truth is they also can't achieve this change without engaging the men who are at the helm of affairs now. So within the Committee of Women in Advertising, we do have some men that are members as well. And then most of what we do is actually supported by men. We sit together, we think through this. The other had mentioned the programs that we have, but what about those that are in already? We help you to navigate challenges. Do you understand? You can't, some of the programs gives us an opportunity. The other day, we had like a sit down together with just an informal thing, hundreds of us sitting together and telling us about the challenge, sexual harassment, so many other things that is perhaps not very easy to just speak to, but I recruited you as a woman. So there's that platform where you really can, you have an opportunity to speak. Yes, one of the things we also always encourage, and which is definitely saying is nothing is going to be handed over to us. Along the line, at the beginning of, at the bottom of the pyramid, it's equal, 50-50. As we begin to narrow upwards, we have less women. Because when the things, yes, the times have changed, the younger women, I went for an HR program, for example, to understand the dynamics of today's workforce, different from when we were coming. But there are certain things that is peculiar that will continue to be. So what are those things? What are those challenges? Identify them. Don't make excuses, but still against all odds to rise. And the beauty of the kind of committee that we have is once upon a time that wasn't there. So when you're having that challenge, there's nobody to speak. We're saying now we're very deliberate about mentoring. You have access to people who navigate it and who can tell you this is what you do when you experience this, this is what you do when you experience that. So really, it's really not an easy conversation about equality with women and the challenges women face would always be ongoing, but the needle is moving. That's the truth. And that's one of the reasons we have this kind of engagement. And as we said earlier, it's not to take over from the men, it's to work with the men to grow the talk for women as well. So when we get there, there was a time there was only 3 of us that were female. So when you get there, how do you influence policy so that you can make a way and create space for others to come forward? So we will continue to do a lot. We're looking to attract females, but beyond attracting them, we also want to retain that. Retention is also very key. So yeah, those are some of the things.
Thank you, Chairman. The thing is, we become very deliberate in the past couple of years. The new EXCO, that is, I'm talking about the EXCO 3 years ago today. We took some very careful, deliberate steps. Like one of them, apart from all of the issues with retention of women in the workforce, we also went a step further to join. AAAN became a key ally, formed an alliance with Stereotype Alliance, which is an international organization set up by UN Women. And that organization fights against gender stereotypes, especially against women in communication. So now, we are trying to educate most of our members. We have certain stereotypes that are very dangerous and damaging for gender, whether be it men or be it women, the thing is that as a family setting, only the mother will do all of the dishwashing and all of that. It's ridiculous. As a man, you are not amputated, you can help in the house. Women cannot drive. All those kind of blankets, stereotype is what we aim to be able to abolish in our communication force. So just rest assured that AAAN will continue to pursue some of these progressive policies now and going into the future. Thank you.
Round of applause to our speakers and everyone who has contributed. I'm going to welcome the Kenny Passion Words. Babusora, apology.
So I'll just quickly introduce our last speaker because of our time. His name is Mr. Larry, popularly called Ellie. He's a member of the board and is also the MD CEO of NOASA. You have the presentation, I think.
Good afternoon. I think I need to apologize. I'm going to talk about technology. I'm not a tech before, but I think I need technology better. Apart from being so mixed up today, I tried to look at the time it takes me to go to AAU on Google. And I saw PAU and I just said, that's fine. So I got a time and I was working to that time. Unknown to me, that was your Lagos Business School campus. So by the time I realized that I was me, I was like, okay, this is your Lagos. But anyway, I'm sorry about that. This is not me. I find it a bit difficult to talk technology because of politics. And to talk about technology in advertising without showing you where the work is in terms of what's being done. And I'm hoping that will inspire us a little bit. We all learn from it. Try to learn a whole lot more from it because you are more comfortable with that skill. I'm just a body copywriter. Like people are copywriter, but I'm really copywriter. And I enjoy reading copywriter. I'm like, I'm trying to look like a young dude. So quickly, so I don't waste time. See, when we talk about technology, oftentimes the question from here is like, oh, talking about the new platforms, there's Google, there's D, there's that, but don't carry on. Next slide. So first and foremost is the first reason. The reason why any agency is hired by a client, right? Because they want us to solve marketing problems. That has never changed and will never change going forward. So we don't get ourselves fooled by all the new, gadgets that we have out there. And for this purpose, we'll embrace whatever is available. As I remember as far back as 1996 or so, I knew people then who were doing painting boards, right? I remember in 1990, 1991, there was a man called Yehusi, who was the only one doing color separation. And he would go to the UK to get that done. That was what was available, and we had to embrace it. But guess what? The world has moved on, So our job is to find those things and embrace them and use them to push, the interest of our brand. So technology, like I said, for me, there was a raging, debate some 3-4 years ago between John Hegarty and David Droga. Hegarty being old school. It's all about, the then thing, write a copy. Even in his book, it's a whole lot of tirade against, not against technology, but he doesn't know we are saying, I think we're losing the plot, But of course, David Droga, new kid on the block, let's embrace what is out there, but it's still a damn good creative, no doubt about it. Now, please go back. So I was talking about technology, and in the 1440s, technology then was this thing called the Gutenberg printing press. And guess what? It was so innovative and radical that religious organizations and governments were actually trying to send for it. Guess what? Because it was spreading knowledge at a rate nobody ever expected. Now you could print the book. So the Bible was not limited to a couple of monks who have absolute control over it. You could do anything. And because of that, a lot more people got enlightened. I know what happens when you're enlightened. So that was this is what happens when you're not the one control. But it's okay. But let's go forward. So that is this wonderful thing. If you can think of how you marvel at your iPhone today. It was like that back then. This thing, it did a lot of wonders. And give it to it. It changed the world like nobody could ever imagine. And subsequently, even in our own spirit, it came with its own innovation. But guess what? When the radio came, it was the same resistance. The TV, the same resistance. It was a big business, like waste of time. A box in your room and you have nothing to do and all that. But guess what? We have always been quick to embrace what's out there. So we embrace the printing press, embrace the radio, we embrace television, and and even when you think, and the problem is that technology. Hell no. Think about it. Old Spice. People thought TV was dead. Now we have this thing. Oh, this digital, this whatever. So when Old Spice, how do you use this? This slide. Oh. Okay. Sorry, what happened? Okay, no, sorry. Yeah, I'll get it. Don't worry. Yeah. I told you I'm not checking. So when one comes, you think it's the end of the other one. But no, I was talking about Old Spice. And when Old Spice launched that campaign about the mind of woman would love to, would like to smell like, mixing it up. The entire thing changed. The kind of results they got, nobody would have imagined TV could deliver that. But they didn't stop at TV. They also did what they complemented with digital. But there was a particular scenario where they had, they had the lead, the model in the studio, and they were taking pitch from people on Twitter, on Instagram, and everything they were saying, they were enacting in real time. So it means that what is important is not to marvel at technology, but to see how can we marry technology, what is the best for the brand going forward. And that's the sentiment shared by, it's not working. Okay, so that's the sentiment shared by our man, Dr. Heger. It says, from an advertising and branding perspective, you can think of like as having created a questioning consumer, the one that thinks, that asks questions. Is innovation spread knowledge? With knowledge comes choice, and with choice comes invention. Now I can actually do anything. You can't stop the man. But this is where we are. From back in the 1440s to this, I don't know where we're headed. But now we've gone beyond it to talk about the metaverse. So it is endless. But let's come to something closer. I'm not trying to pitch these guys against one another, but I think it's better to hear from David. There's nothing connects with people like humanity, and that's where I'm headed. That doesn't mean you have to tell science of life stories all the time. But with so many options in technology, the consumer is not really that interested in advertising. They are interested in great stories that transcend any medium. That is what it is. So it is not about the technology. Are we connecting? Are we making sense? Are we doing things that matter to people that can change society? I think this is where I would like to go into sharing one or two pieces of work. And the first one for me is really interesting. Project Rubric was something that was done by Google. And the intention was to say, let's take some of those old classes and see if we were to do them today, how would we attempt to do them? For instance, what they did was for Coca-Cola. I'd like to buy the one they Coke from way back then. But if you were to buy the one they Coke today, what would you do, given all the things at our disposal? So they went looking for the gentleman who wrote the copy and brought him back to the studio and did some wonders with it now. Let me be sure how much time I have, so I don't have to play everything I have to push too much time. But let's see if you can play it. Does it work? Okay.
Well, here he is. Okay, yeah. You ready? Bye, Detroit. Goodbye, Victoria. Hello, Grey Apple. He got all his stuff. Like he even brought his Cleo. Crazy, man. We originated from Waterford, Michigan. Usually I thought 13 hours. I saw it.
I got a call. You know, it was just kind of out of the blue. There was an interesting project going on. And then they told me who else was coming. And I knew the other people because they were my generation. And I became a little skeptical about the whole idea.
I don't know what to expect. And that's intriguing for me because when somebody gives you a narrow box to work in, the thing to try to do is teach you to break out of that and do something completely unexpected.
Hearing about a plane going to New York. And the most exciting is that we can work together in 30. Bob, we were like the perfect team for each other. He would be the county art director. I would say he was the copywriter. He was the eyes. I was the leader. And we did everything together.
So I'll tell you how this ended, because again, because of time, there's a longer version of this. They ended up creating this piece of advertising anew, and it ended up being a case of, can we have vending machines in New York that can send Coke to somebody in Cape Town, among other things. So it's like, in the real sense, you can rapidly buy the world a Coke, as opposed to what was the limitation back then. Now we can do that. So the point I'm trying to make, technology can enable so many things. You only have to think it. If you can think it, there are people out there who can make it happen. I think for me, that is, if there's anything to take out of this conversation, it is not being limited by our thoughts, by imagination. And that's what they were able to do with the Black campaign. So there is low tech, there's high tech. And what I'm going to play next is more of low tech. And it happened in Africa. And it won a Grand Prix.
Here he is.
2017, I think. Yeah, power to the people. I'm sure some of us will remember this, but NetBank. There was a solar power billboard, the first solar power billboard in the world. And it was not just about getting a solar power billboard, but the fact that they could also use that solar power to power the kitchen and feed the children in the school where it was placed. It was quite emotional and very impressive. But that is tech at a level that is accessible at that point in time.
There's a new way to get a corporate message across. Not only deliver the message, but give the electricity to the people. In order for me to be the world's first net bank Internship Program. So forth.
South Africa and other countries of the world billboard advertising that generate more than advertising revenue. And the bank came up with a solar powered board that supplies energy to move the ground at fan, but it's got solar panels rigged at the top of the board. Those panels generate electricity, which in turn feeds a kitchen that serves 1,100 hot meals a day.
So there's nothing fantastic about the design of the billboard, but it doesn't matter because the purpose is different. It's what they're trying to communicate, and also about the bank, what the bank stands for. I'm going to speak a few things. I would love to play it. This was done in Mexico, but I see the relevance here in terms of how can we use technology and our thoughts to make a difference. We talk a whole lot about unbank. And I think it's something that is very relevant to what we do and what we can do. What banks can do, what telcos can do. For people, if you look at our scenario and their scenario, there's nothing too different. After this, I'll just do one more and that'll be it.
Cannot study or small business because they don't invest at all. Paradoxically, your women have received loans from neighborhoods for all their lives, so they have a long credit history. Just that these credit records don't appear in the financial information, but the accounting records of thousands of stock members throughout the country. Consider the inclusion of women as financial information in breathing phase, which covers the credit history and businesses and accounting records. To collect them, you should only enter at least 5 substances. So the future, your wealth odds, quantity, stock leaders, and these credit score, which utilizes more variables
La información financiera como parte de otra sobre que con mujeres trabajas. Y la práctica para eso es el comportamiento de Paula.
Necesito que hablar de la historia de vida. Llegaban expresando que hasta ahora me odian. Con el crédito que me hicieron, yo me compré esa máquina. Recovery credit histories, life stories.
Reimagine. I think this would be really good. There are things we know, so how can we take what we know and find a different way of making it? And this is also about now of inclusion, not financial inclusion now, the gender side. In a society where women are limited in one way or the other. But how do we do something that not just changes that scenario, also changes how we can use the particular medium we're using? So we're not saying too much. I think we should watch what is called the liquid billboard. Again, it's not a Grand Prix this last time, and also at the Louis last year.
I never saw women that wearing the hijab, and I feel like that hindered my ability to kind of dream.
على شكل
first ever liquid notebook.
We are best anyway. It is how smart brands can be and how you can make a difference. It doesn't have to be high tech, high tech. This is about the British user, but actually hijacking reality using AR. And so imagine you visiting the museum and they always have their own narrative about, oh, this is a piece from XYZ, but they never tell you so many other things. So what these guys are trying to do is to look, let us go behind the curtain and know what is how this is all basically that way. And the media, brand vibes, trying to just teach people, bring the light on the physical rather than not talk about, in this case, the coloniality, which that's what I'm saying. Don't mind. So let's.
The British Museum's public institution dedicated to the history of and culture. Come discover over 80,000 works from around the world on London. You are now viewing the Green Sheet. Captain James Cook was a British defender.
Now, I will show you. Just like it. Connections to the British Museum, but my project like I'm what my grandfather's portion of.
For us, it's not just a great carved rock, it is a living ancestor.
This very important statue is on display in the museum thousands of miles away.
The British Museum is the world's largest exhibit of stolen goods. We're launching an interactive tour of some of its most contested artifacts.
One of them, one over the other, and we look towards ways of the other. So, as it's a balance.
Museums around Europe slowly realize exhibiting items hundreds of years ago. And it grows. And it's about time. We can't change the past. We can change how we live.
I know what I put together. Very important. But that's the power of thinking and power of technology. And it's possible. There's a whole lot that we can do. You're actually hijacking that reality and saying this is what really happened. John Holmes from TWA Hunters Carrier, he used to have a full back there every week. What that is the thing with your class. Don't limit yourself. For me, it's not so much about that technology. That is not really what matters. What really matters is how we deploy what is available, connect real people to real brand issues with ideas that are well crafted, make them think and act possible. And that is what we have been seeing, all that we've been sharing. The power to do that is in your hand, so don't limit yourself in any way. The man that invented the World Wide Web had this to say. He said, the web is as I envisaged it, we have not seen it yet. That was what he said. The future it feels so much bigger than the past. So if you think that the metaverse is the end, you don't even know what is coming next. People keep going on and on and on. Last but not the least for me, I love this because it's one thing for you to listen to all of us here telling you what we've done, what we can do. But you know what? Just keep it proper. It is your life. And that's why I like to end this thing. Your time is limited. So don't waste it living someone else's life. Don't be trapped by dogma, which is dealing with the results of other people's thinking. Don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your own inner voice. And most importantly, have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. Somehow already know what you truly want to become. Everything else is secondary. So on that note, I'd like to thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. That was very insightful, and I'm sure we've learned. I like the videos and the experiences you shared with us. So do we have questions? Okay, I can see one hand. Okay, so we're taking just 2 questions. So if you have a question, and that will be the last. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Daphne. I have 2 questions I'd like to ask. I wanted to ask earlier before you spoke. I think I'll just include that now. I'm honored to know that you and Mr. Steve started out in the advertising industry as copywriters. I started out as a copywriter myself before I came back to school. So my question is, we have the background, first of all, in as much as we are looking at how technology is affecting advertising, I think there's a salient problem that we are kind of overlooking the issue of money in the business, first of all, because I know most companies now are evolving into creating their own content. They are becoming media companies now to create their own, creatives to even produce. So it's kind of taking business away from advertising, firms. My question is, how feasible is this now for a copywriter, say in the next 10 to 15 years, to want to start out an advertising agency and to be successful at this, as both of you have been, first of all? And secondly, what are we doing to get, I don't know if mitigate is the right word, but what are we doing to prepare ourselves for this change? Because everybody takes technology, and I know it's a driving force, it's even enabling these companies to cut us out, but what are we doing to help ourselves in the long run as advertisers? Thank you.
Well, I don't know. I'm not successful. I think that I think type of because I'm interested on Instagram life. I don't want to now go out there and provide with success. He is a successful company. So that when the IRS is looking for somebody, but having said that, I mean, there's two things that I say when you have some people you perform a stunt. You always like on it, please don't try it at home. Sometimes I feel like sometimes on a not so good day, I always feel like when I go through the experience I'm going through being an entrepreneur, I wish I didn't even start at all. So on those kind of days, if you come to me, I'll say, please, just take a job and save yourself the headache. But on other more positive days, when I see how much difference we're making, impacting people's lives and providing opportunities for people, not just in Nigeria, today, for extreme, we are in about 6 countries on the continent. I feel so privileged and so humbled by it. So I think there's always going to be space the next copywriter that's willing to do something great. One of the things that the stereotype that people like Mr. Adisa has really helped to shatter, and a few other people before him, is that there was the stereotype that, oh, creative people are not good businessmen. Please. So coming up the chat, I mean, women can talk about some of the issues that affect them, but if it was back in the days, it was going to be justice for copywriters or justice for creatives, because if you are the client service person, start your career the same year, same day, as a matter of fact, the chances are that if they are looking for the CEO to run the company, they'll probably give it to the client service person. But what he has helped us do some of the doors that people like him and people like Dele Awukoya, people like Udeme Ufot have opened is the fact that please don't ever underrate a creative. And that's so that because of what people like him and the other people that I've mentioned have done, I believe there's always space in the future for a creative to start a successful advertising platform.
From a not so successful copywriter or my accomplice. Well, I think for me, I don't know about other people. Some people are very lucky. They probably wake up from the beginning and say, when I'm going to start again. They are the lucky ones. But more importantly, I think for anybody in the business, you don't want to embrace what is out there, enjoy it, build a career. And when the opportunity comes for you to do anything else, then you can give it and go for it. I mean, I'm talking about my experience. I didn't set out to say one day, start again. I think I shocked myself the day I said I was going to start again. The next person I shocked was Kelechi. Because I was working with Kelechi then. But it happened one night. So I just cut that one. I was like, what the heck is going on? Let's go. But it will happen because all along I had been taking in as much as one could. And it's all those experiences that came to bear. I think that is what I would advise. So don't be too taken in by how to start my own agency. There's nothing wrong with starting your own agency, but find your voice first. Find your own way. Build your own network. When the time comes for you to do that, if you're going to do it, you do it very, very well. That is that. The other thing is that if you were starting an agency tomorrow, what would it be? Seriously, I can't tell you. But that's why it is important that you are deep in whatever is happening today. I mean, if we are going to start an agency today, I think it will have to be a different kind of agency. The model will have to change. Because the things I used to make money for Mr. Shobanjo and Ogali Raoko in those days, nobody, I mean, 15% was guaranteed. Client will pay you 75% on your production before you even start moving to the production. It's not happening like that anymore. But how do we follow the money? It's only when you are there that you can actually find your space. There's nothing wrong with people doing their own production. There's no limitation. I mean, we also know all those guys also, coming into our own space. What will you say about the management consultants? I mean, they're even buying up independent agencies. So that is where the world is today, really. I mean, we can't limit ourselves. But like I said, for me, it's a very exciting journey and enjoy the ride. And when the time comes for you to, find something on the corner, let's go ahead and make it big, think big, most value. Because there are people who also started out that we don't talk about today. If the intention is very existential, it might just limit you to one corner. If you want to really make a statement and contribute to moving the conversation forward, then you are welcome. That is what we're looking for. And again, where's okay, she's not. We need more women to come in there and be entrepreneurs.
Thank you, sir. So the last question, okay.
Good afternoon. My name is Aima, and I have a question pertaining to when you spoke about the medium is not really necessary, or you shouldn't really focus on the medium or focus on the message or creative aspect. But I know there's a theory that says the medium is the message. So when you're talking about your target audience, you also have to factor in the medium, like the liquid billboard ads that you showed. I wouldn't have known about it because I wouldn't be able to see the billboard. It's the only way I know about it because it's social media. So how do you incorporate traditional media forms or stories of adverts that were meant for traditional media forms into social media and increase your target audience basically, because not everybody is ready to look at billboards or watch TV and things like that.
Thank you very much. Very good question. But first and foremost, I didn't say the medium of money. Don't worry too much about the technology. Because sometimes we do that and we overrate or even start idolizing the technology and forget about why the most important thing is what idea is driving what we're dealing with real people, human beings. And it's the most important factor in determining how you want to express whatever the message is. So Adidas that came up with liquid football, it's not the first time they've been in this novel. Remember, they had this area football back in Japan, in Tokyo, where people were playing football. And why is that possible? They say impossible. That is what is driving it. So when I have that premise, I can go far. They even had one where they had people running across a skyscraper. And it's for technology to enable it to happen. So the medium is important, but it's not necessarily what I'll think of first. First, I think of who am I talking to? What do I know about them? What do I want to pass on to them? And I make that happen. Who can help me to make it happen? So I need a group of partners. So if you have a thought of a liquid global in Nigeria, for instance, there's nothing saying you can't think about that. If I can't find engineers in Nigeria, if I has the money, I can go to Japan, I can go to India, I can go to anywhere. But the most important thing, the most important person in this field will be you, the one with the idea. What is the idea? That is what will never change. Whatever technology comes up tomorrow that will beat the metaverse and beat everything that we're celebrating, one thing that will never change is what is driving it, the idea. I think that's what I would like.
Thank you, finally. I mean, just comment before I leave. I know somebody before hopefully. I just like to say, I mean, so much has been said about how diversity, inclusion, and equity, especially as regards gender and women issues. Shout out to all of the guys in this hall today. But I like to say a lot of punchy questions have come from the women. So a lot of questions. Everybody is really able to stand up, call it out, and say your mind, speak to your truth to the situation. So thank you so much to the ladies for speaking up.
Thank you so much. We want to say a very big thank you to AAAN. Thank you for making our time to come here. Thank you for thinking about us. Thank you for including us in your schedule as you celebrate your 49th year. We want to wish you all the best going forward. And we know that the future we've not seen anything yet. And I can promise or guarantee that we have people in this space who have listened to you, who have now been inspired, who will join this system, who are already in the pipeline and will make a difference, will definitely make you proud. And your work today, the infuse, all that you've shared with us will not be in vain. And we want to wish you a very safe journey as you go back. Thank you for making it down this way. Against the traffic, the weather, we really celebrate you. We appreciate you from PAU community, the students, the faculty, every one of us here, non-academic staff, academic staff. We really appreciate you and we want to say a very big thank you. God bless you. And this is the end of today's event. Have a wonderful day, everyone. But initially, when we started, we talked about it was the career talk networking event. So we finished the part of the career talk. So it's left to you to connect. For some of us here, some of us are undergraduate, 400 level, some will be going into the labor market or the business space. And we have some postgraduate students here who are also looking to do their internship. So this is the opportunity. You have Steve here, Extreme, all the different dimensions and departments there where you can plug yourself. Don't let it go on the make